republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Steve,
Hey, roll call. Yes.
Steve, could you make sure that people identify themselves when they're speaking tonight?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, let it be shown that we have Cindy remote and Joel is trying to combat the road condition, so he will not be here. Okay, anybody have any conflicts of interest to announce for tonight? Okay, we have a consent agenda.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? We're gonna have to do the audible.
Yeah.
Cindy?
Yes.
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 And yes. Okay, thank you. All right, moving right along. Approval of minutes for March 9th meeting.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any corrections, discussion? Okay, Cindy?
Yes.
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 And yes, okay. Now, select board special meeting minutes from March 16th.
Move to approve.
Second. Okay, any corrections? We're all set on that. Cindy?
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Yes.
And yes. Okay, all right, thank you. We don't have any public hearings tonight. And open session to the public.
Paul Matoulis, just like to know, new lights, same old problem. What's going on with that?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Same old problem as in they're blinking.
Blinking
The
again.
middle is in May,
Sunday, yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
Saturday night too.
and this evening when I came in.
It was sad.
Okay, I will take note of that, because I think first I've heard that. Okay.
They,
That's Monument Square is blinking.
Route 7.
No.
no, the Route 7.
Oh.
The new ones.
Yeah,
The
Yeah,
new one.
okay.
they blink brighter than the old ones.
Yeah, they're pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty, yeah.
I was with my wife, we went through and she said, what the hell? And I said, I don't know. So that was on my agenda tonight.
Yeah.
Yes, Jane?
I was gonna say, when I went by about 3 o'clock, it looked like some activity that was happening. But that didn't excuse Saturday. That's, so no.
Blinking now.
Still blinking.
So we'll, obviously, we don't know, so we'll find out. Okay, thank you.
I thought you were talking about the walk lights and you were gonna say that it's the blinking.
I'm back again.
We'll do this formally. Announce your name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Randy Swallow,
Thank you.
and I'm back here again to keep pushing towards dissolving the water board. I guess we're hung up right now. I've been looking, searching myself, trying to find some reason why it can't be done. And I can't find anything. In fact, what I do have to work on is a conversation I had, I think I mentioned in an earlier meeting with the Public Utilities Commission. And they said they have no requirements whatsoever for us to have a board of trustees for our water district. That's up to each individual municipality. And so it looks to me, from everything I've gathered, that this could be just as simple as notifying the board that you're gonna try to consolidate water and sewer. And that in order to get more public attention or whichever means that I may have told you already, just notify them and start resuming their responsibilities. And I started thinking about this whole thing and, I thought that if you could dissolve them, take over their responsibilities, that way the public would be more accessible to everything. And you could consolidate the water and sewer eventually so that you would have one billing statement instead of two different entities, two different bills. There'd be a variety of billing options for you, and it should be more efficient and should cut down on billing costs altogether. So I guess I'm just short and sweet, just kind of find out how you feel about that and anything else I can do, anything that you need for information. Glad to help.
We haven't done anything in terms of meeting with the water district or finding out or consulting with the lawyers or any of that,
Mhm.
or even to see, I know from your perspective, it's a good idea, but that doesn't mean that it is from our perspective, a good
Sure.
idea.
Yeah.
We certainly know your feelings on the matter.
Yeah, I'll admit, I get some personal satisfaction out of this. I have to admit it. You know, and I wouldn't want you to rely on my credibility, and I could tell you that I'm telling you all the truth right down the line, but so would a liar. You know, so I understand fully where you're coming from.
All right. So, I guess next steps are to, Alcina, have you had any discussion with the water board about?
I haven't, I plan on, well, I'm gonna attend the next meeting, just to sit in and have, initiate a conversation, and then as well, I'm waiting for our to respond back to some questions that I had about process and what would it entail and all the other
Yeah.
items for that.
First of all, like how is it charged with the vote? I have no idea.
Yeah, because they operate under their own, so, yeah.
Okay. So we'll maybe have something, some more information in the next.
It's in the works.
Yep.
Mhm.
Thank you very, very
You're
much.
welcome. All right, anybody else open session? Close open session to the public. Open session for the board. Paul already stole my thunder.
Same here.
Yeah, all right. Thanks a lot, Paul.
I was gonna ask about the lights, but never mind.
I will just say that, it was really nice to have the pancake breakfast back in action, yesterday. I think I ate more bacon than I did pancakes, but, it was great to see that back up and running.
Yeah, Steve, I wanted to just echo that. I realized what an important event that is had been for our community. And I saw people I hadn't seen in a really long time. And I was also really impressed with the students in their roles as volunteers there. I thought it was probably better than it's ever been. And the music
Yeah.
was excellent also.
Wonderful to hear. I mean, it's wonderful to hear the kids.
Yeah.
Sorry, Cindy.
It's good to get her involved.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Okay, anything else for open session for the board? Close that. All right. Have adjustments to the agenda. We're going to put 2 on there. The first one is a discussion point about for us to vote on a recommendation for the $100,000 appropriation. And the second one is for me to bring information to the board regarding doing some contract accounting work for our books. Anybody else have any adjustments? Great. Okay. Protection Committee meeting.
Yes, we met on Friday. Again, we are looking at some realignment of responsibilities with emergency management, to kind of strengthen that, the role of the cooling and warming centers, that sort of thing. So that's in the works. Also, we talked briefly about the role of the protection committee as part of the broader public safety building study that hopefully will be funded with this year's budget. The public health, the rundown as to if a public health issue comes forth, what's the protocol? How is that handled, AKA, CDC, or is it local Northern Light Mayo? Is it non-concern of ours? Is it whatever? So that kind of opened our eyes as to the role of the town for public health issues. And then we got a dangerous building update, and then we have on our next agenda, talking about a Dover-Foxcroft Fire Department open house, maybe in the spring, as well as prior to that, the ATV Club wants to come back and chat with us about their plans for this coming session. That's it.
It's a lot. Yeah. All right.
That was Friday at 4:00, so. We picked real stimulating times to meet.
All right. Discussion, we're on to new business. Thank you, Jane. Discussion of the ordinances that will be needed, that will need to be updated. So, and
I'll start, it's not on the agenda, but Welly Ave is down. And
Excellent.
It's filled, and he had enough, material there, so we backfilled it. So,
excellent.
You actually brought the question. I'm gonna let you answer. Please, please.
It's wonderful that's happened. I liked it on Facebook. It's great. It's down, it's flat, it's wonderful. But there was discussion that I had mentioned to Tracy about backfilling with concrete and the granite foundation. Has that all been backfilled? Because if you're gonna go to build a house there, you're gonna run into the concrete that they backfilled. So I don't know if the granite's gone or the concrete.
Well, per the contract, the granite should have been removed.
Right.
And stacked.
Yeah,
And then,
that's perfect.
yep, and then the, as far as for the rest of the foundation, it gets backfilled with our material. I don't believe he requested material because he had material on hand.
correct, but I think he put the concrete in the foundation
That's part of the backfilling.
as part of the bill.
That's what we are understanding.
Yeah, I just was, if that might be a worry and
Yeah, potentially.
Kind of complicate somebody else's life.
Yeah.
Down
But,
the road.
can we make sure that in future contracts that is spelled out as a definite no? Because I'm going to guess that it was ambiguous and he made his call and. Or was it in the
Somebody's
I'm
contract?
gonna have to look.
I was gonna say, can you check the contract, please, and see if that's.
somebody's gonna wanna build
Stated
on
it
that.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's explicitly, if I'm remembering the contract correctly, the town will provide backfill for the foundation. Or for the, or the removal of foundation and whatnot, so. To use the existing material. It's one thing if it was dirt, that they
Yeah.
had
Yes.
to do, but.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I'll double check that.
Yeah,
So I'm
thank
pretty
you.
confident.
Sorry.
Yeah, if you could,
That's
no,
okay.
we,
No, that's good.
this is the time to address it.
Yes,
Yes.
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
And if you don't mind, I think I asked whose responsibility was it to oversee the demolition? And again, let's prevent something versus come up with a solution to it. So for example, on Grove Street, when that's happening, we assume that items are going to Jupiter landfill. Do we know? We assume we're doing the backhoe. Do we know? I mean, is this a public works role? Is this code enforcement? This is a new contractor that we're using. So again, I think we just need to be mindful that we're paying for this, and if we're not getting that service, what's the town's role in oversight when demolition happens?
Right.
So that's the second time I've asked.
yes.
Okay. And, yes, if you could make sure that is spelled out in the contract about any kind of filling. It's good that we had the granite spelled out to be removed, but, yeah. It's-
And spelled out in there.
Yeah. And if it was for this contract, then we're gonna wanna have a conversation with the contractor.
And Grove is supposed to be started, I'm assuming this week. You should never assume, but he said that the equipment was going to go.
Getting moved.
So,
So clear. Alcina, can you make sure that things are clear for the next one?
Yes.
and as far as the ordinances, I have one that, would like to have put into, the land use. And it's just a statement that says if somebody is in, well, I'll read it verbatim, is issuance prohibited for permit when unresolved land use violations exist. No permit shall be issued to an applicant if there are any unresolved land use or zoning violations relating to the property for which the permit is being sought. Provided, however, that this shall not prevent the issuance of permits to resolve the underlying zoning or land use violation. Just a very simple, right now, if somebody wanted to come and get a permit and I knew they were in violation, I have nothing to stop them getting a new permit.
No, that makes perfect sense.
And then the other two are state requirements. Our shoreland zoning ordinance was last updated in 2019, and now they've updated it again. So they've sent me the wording. We can make it more stringent, but we can't make it more lenient. So it's essentially, here it is, done it into law. The state doesn't give us much leeway. They're changing in the shoreline zoning. The ordinance will now apply to any structure built on, over, or abutting a dock, wharf, or pier, or other structure extending or located below the normal high water line of a water body or within a wetland. That used to be more DEP's area, but now we get it. And then they changed, or included definitions in here. A variety of, that go along with what they're doing. Skid road or skid trail, for example, is a route repeatedly used by forwarding machinery or animal to haul or drag forest products from the stump to the yard or landing. The construction of which requires minimal excavation and a few other definitions. And that's what shoreline is involving. And then Alcina and I took an online class for floodplain. And I ended up in email conversations with the state floodplain person who said, hey, you're out of date. Our floodplain was last updated in 2006.
Oh. Whoops.
So they've made a few changes since then. Their recommendation is the cleanest way, which I think the town usually does, is for a community to repeal and replace the current ordinance with the current that they're provided. They're identifying qualified professionals, and again, we can be more stringent, but we cannot be more lenient than what they have in floodplain. They don't give us any leeway. It's their ordinance and we get to enforce it.
Question,
Certainly,
these minimum shore frontages, were those given to us by the state?
yes.
Okay.
As far as I know, we've never made anything more stringent than what the state is required.
It generally is stringent and
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
Right, I only was wondering, because the state has, for residential use, has a 200-foot minimum by state standards.
What did they give us? Because this came from them.
Okay,
Are we less than 200?
depending on the zone.
Well, yeah, it depends on the zone.
Right, so I guess my only question is, so residential use generally in inland waters and non-tidal areas is a minimum of 200 for residential use?
and we don't have,
And it's smaller for commercial use.
So you're looking on page
Page
13 of the.
So I guess I would just want to be sure that those numbers still match
okay,
state standards.
confirm that they do before you go further.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I got.
And we very generally, in the ordinances, because of issues like this, we tend to just
Right.
reference the other document so that we don't get ourselves into a pickle. Well, we committed a number that they changed and then forgot to change ours.
Just a procedural question. So Nan, when you get requests of ordinance changes from the state,
Mhm.
do they give details as to what the issue was or why the language is being changed, or are we taking this?
The short,
Blind faith.
the shoreline zoning, they redlined it, but when I went through it, they blue lined it, so that was confusing for a minute. But they had highlighted everything in blue, and I think Julie printed off.
Yeah.
Examples. Yes, just the pages that were changed.
But I mean, for example, on the first page there, the ordinance may apply to structures built on, over. What was the issue there?
Yeah.
Yes, does the state tell you what the issue was to make that language change?
No,
Oh, come on.
we did not have to enforce that before. That was, if somebody wanted to build a dock,
Yeah,
call DEP. And they would take care of that, and now DEP is dumping it on us.
Along with other
Essentially.
things, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and we didn't get consulted on that either.
We did not. I shouldn't say DEP is dumping it. It comes from above them.
Yeah.
It's not
Right.
like they're making the decision.
So will this whole packet be voted upon, or are you gonna pull out the blue lines that say a warrant article to give approval, or? Guess I'm not sure what the next.
I've not done this before.
Okay, well, you'll tell
I
us. in the
will
future.
we'll double check with Brian on the best way to do this. But yeah, it will have to go to public meeting or public hearing. And then it'll be at the town meeting to be discussed, and then it'll be on the ballot in June.
It's put out as a whole document. Because we're not, if I remember correctly, I think, the language is that we're approving the updated shoreland zoning. As a full document, we're not yay or naying the actual changes per se.
Because we don't have any say in it, really.
Yeah, we can say no, but they can say,
You can.
can't say no.
Yeah,
We'll find you.
Yeah,
we know where
exactly.
you live.
That's the
We will
solution.
find you, yeah.
The only other thing I'd ask is, so with minimum shore frontage. And I don't see that it really clearly spells this out. So minimum shore frontage is measured on a straight line between where the two property lines hit the water, not along the shore. So I don't know if there should be something, because I know most towns don't have that, and then people are shocked when they find that out.
Yeah, because
And it's also has to maintain that shore frontage 100 feet back from the shore. So I don't know if that's maybe language we want to consider putting into our shoreline ordinance.
We actually don't have our own shoreline ordinance. We just point to this. So
Right,
so then we would need to make a shoreline ordinance because we
okay,
know where else.
so we're just taking this one,
Yeah,
okay.
as far as this. Now, if we wanted to put that stuff in, we can. It's just it wouldn't go.
Right, and I mean, that's already state requirement. I don't know why they don't spell it out in these. Because people are always shocked when they find that out.
That it's point to point.
Right, it's point to point.
If
not-
you don't have a cove, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Generally, most people have this at least with 200 feet,
Right.
straight shot, but you have a dip in a two and you're trying to measure that. Yeah. All right.
it's from the shortest point usually, isn't it?
What's that?
If you have an inlet on your property, they would measure from the closest point, so you lose more frontage.
Well, it's basically just, if you have an inlet, it's still, so if you're on a pond and there's an inlet,
Mhm.
your shore frontage still goes along pond, and it still has to be from one point to the other in a straight line.
That makes sense. You get real complicated, especially on on the coast.
Yeah.
So it's even stricter there.
Yeah, exactly. And every town down there has their own too. All right, I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Nan.
Hey,
Thank you.
Steve, could I just ask a question of Nan? Just,
Yeah, fire away.
wondering about the situation at the lake and if that's resolved or quiet or what's happening with, the folks out there that we were so highly involved with for a while.
It's quiet now because two of them, one of them's in Florida for the winter. One of them's in Rhode Island where they live and not up here much because it's off season. One family, I don't know if they come over much or not. Mostly quiet because people aren't there. We're still having to deal with or going to have to deal with the fact that one of them is not hooked up to the septic system. Still getting pushback from the person who's in charge of that, taking care of it. So I don't know if I have authority to bring a letter to the board and have the board write a letter to the person, where I'm not a plumbing person. We still need to write to some of the others because there are some other issues that have been brought up that need to be dealt with. Wednesday, I'm taking a hoarding class from the state, and I'm hoping that will help shed some light on
What class?
hoarding.
Boarding?
Hoarding. I'm hoping that will shed some light on how to handle some of the issues out there. Because one place has got a lot. Just trying to shotgun it to get as much and address it all at once as I can. You've got this issue here, this one here, this one here, and kind of let everybody have their issue and say, here, fix yours, and then we'll not worry about everybody else, fix yours and fix yours and fix yours. Some of it is just civil matters that they keep trying to drag us into, and we can't get involved in them. They're
Yeah,
gonna
I
have to
think-
handle. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I think
No,
we
go
have to prioritize what is within our purview, right? And so the septic system seems to be the most important thing. Because we know there aren't any children living there, is that right?
Yes, I think 17-year-old maybe, but no young children. The young children are no longer there.
So it's really like the health and the environmental issues because there isn't a septic system hookup. That seems
Yes.
like the most important thing for us.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
If you can get a determination from, you're saying the state isn't really responding, the inspector.
We've had the state representative meet us. We've met with him twice. We've been to the property. Go twice? We did go twice to the property. And he said what needs to be done, but it's not being moved forward.
Right, so the state has given us the information, property owner hasn't followed through.
Yes, property owner, and then also who has jurisdiction over plumbing has not followed through.
Okay, so, all right, that's
That's
the
the-
thing that I was
That's the
getting at.
caveat.
Yeah.
And it's not code that pushes that.
Someone
That
else is supposed to
enforces that.
bring that to the
Right,
board.
they're supposed to give us a piece of paper that says
Yes.
they're out of compliance, and then we can, all right. So I guess the thing is just push hard for that, because we know the problem exists.
Mhm.
But if we can't enforce it without that letter, then,
And if there becomes a problem, we are going to be responsible
Yep.
because we are not doing the town isn't doing what needs to be done, but we're having trouble pushing it.
Yeah.
Now, Sina and I are
Exactly. Okay,
hitting a wall.
then why don't we, Julie, if you could make a note, we'll return to this next meeting for an update, have that out as an agenda item.
Okay,
Okay. Jane, did you have something else?
Nope.
Okay, sorry.
anything else, Cindy?
No, but thank you for that because, I know there are a lot of things on the table and they, things can fade into the woodwork when we're not, because there's a lot of stuff going on that you have to do. So before everything melts and before we're back into a fully populated lakeshore, I think we want to get this taken care of.
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, man. All right. Next agenda item here is discussion of the Dover-Foxcroft Coming an Opportunity 2.0 Town. You have a handout. And this is a program that, if everything goes right, I mean, this is a designation, which then would allow us to do certain things and have financial benefits from that from the state. At this point, we don't need to commit to anything. Anything specific. But does anybody have any thoughts about seeking the designation?
Fortunately, I'm just reading this now, so we'll put it on the next agenda after review. Does this outline what our responsibilities are and what we get in return?
Oh, it shows, in this document, it basically just states like what the benefits are for us being labeled as an opportunity zone 2.0. I put in here, Greenville was the only participant from our county. In the last round, things have changed from being a opportunity zone 1.0 to 2.0, where it's a permanent designation versus a short-term designation in the first portion. And, yeah, and there's significant pluses to being designated, especially, with the focus on rural areas and tax incentives that various, whether it's workforce development, business expansion, and this is all coming from the federal government. So it's not even state only, it's federal government that they give tax incentives to folks looking at Dover-Foxcroft for potentially development, or whether it be workforce and various other.
Have you had any discussion with Greenville Town Manager?
I've tried reaching out to him about that, yeah, and he hadn't gotten back to me in time for the meeting. But I did reach out to him last week to kind of discuss, to see if the first round of them being in it was beneficial to them. I will say they are booming right now. I don't know if it's because of the opportunity zone aspect, but there is significant growth in that area.
Is there a deadline for this invitation? or-
So the governor doesn't appoint, but nominates a certain amount of towns or cities to this opportunity zone. And I don't specifically know if there is per se a deadline. I did not see maybe Dr. Sweat, you were the one that brought it up. Do you know if there was a deadline as far as when the governor has to designate? Because that was my.
Gonna be this year.
Yeah, it
Because
has
the
to be.
opportunity zones beginning in 2026.
Right.
For implementation in 2025, so we'll seek out and see if there's a date associated with that. My understanding is it's basically we make a pitch. And they put us compare against all the other towns that are doing the pitch. Then they select from that pile. So it's not an automatic thing.
They don't make a pitch to us first before we get pitched to them?
This is the bid.
This is
Yeah.
the pitch.
Yeah.
I mean, I happily read this, but. Okay,
So we would have to convince them that of the limited pool of resources that are available for the state of Maine, that this would be the right community to invest federal money in from the state's perspective, because they're the ones making the nominations. So if we were a town of 20 that was out in the middle of nowhere and there's no recreation or anything there, probably very low on the list. But we are competing with coastal and southern communities as well. But with the emphasis on rural, we get a leg up. So I have no idea what their process is, but Cindy?
Yeah, Alcina, did you say that Greenville's already in the pool?
They were part of the first round,
Okay,
so they wouldn't be again to re-up.
okay. And so,
And just,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just kind of roughly, so Maine can nominate 25 of their 78 eligible tracts for this new round. So only 25 census tracts will be eligible to get into this next round. And it has a longer designation than the first one. The first one is gonna be ending here. Oh, I think it's 28, they overlap slightly. But yeah, nominations occur in 26, official designation in late 26, and then effectiveness as of January 1st of 2027 is the timeline for.
Can I ask just a sort of simple question?
Mhm.
You said tract, not town. Would there be any advantage to us combining a application for this, say with Guilford or Dexter or Milo, or if you had more than one town that therefore encompassed bigger area and more resources, would that improve our possibility of maybe getting two towns together to be in this program?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I don't know, as far as where they're saying tracts, it probably, I don't know if they would group tracts together in order
Okay.
to be eligible for that.
Okay, so
Alcina, have you seen a map of our census tract?
Yeah, we're in one,
Is it only Dover-Foxcroft?
mhm.
Well, then, that's a good point. I think, to me, just an interested citizen, if they allowed us to combine Dover-Foxcroft, Guilford, Sangerville, Milo, perhaps even Dexter. I mean, the better off that all of us do, everybody's gonna benefit from it. And, this is a federal program that is administered by the state and does not cost us any money. But it does attract investors because it provides significant tax relief for the investors.
okay, so it looks like the two things that we need, chime in if I'm missing the two. One, we need to know what the deadline is. And two, I would like to, I'm very curious if Greenville can point to specific projects that were, that were not only accomplished, that's an important thing too, but that they feel that probably wouldn't have happened without this program. And if we could get, sounds like I'm gonna guess that the deadline is coming up. Or at least that's just my guess. If they're gonna make decisions by the end of the year, knowing how they work, they usually want 4 or 5 months beforehand. So, Alcina, if you could dig into those two things, and if we need to take immediate action, basically have it put on the agenda wherever you think you've got the information. Does that sound good?
And there's lots of details on the opportunity zone dover.com website.
Oh, there's
And
the plethora, and that's. in
The first wave, it listed 1 Piscataquis. 2, it lists 6, but I can't figure out what the 6 different measurements of Piscataquis County.
Yeah.
Okay.
Show me
So-
the money, I guess.
Could I ask
Okay.
a question?
Yeah, Cindy, go.
Yeah, so is there any reason not to just get in the pool, right now? I mean, I appreciated the questions and learning about what are the possibilities for us to combine with others, or what are the possibilities for us to look to on our own, learning from Greenville, et cetera, but we could also just say, yeah, of course we're interested, and learn about as we go along. So is there a reason not to do that? I'm concerned about, well, we don't know the deadline, and is it sort of better for us to get in quickly? And not drag our heels is my question, I guess.
Fair point. Hang on one second to that thought, Emery.
I think it adds on to that, just, I was wondering, Alcina, does the work that we're about to do, would that be information we could tie into this? Or just jump into this straight
Well,
away?
but yeah, I would say I have not found any information online and reading through HUD's website and all the links and everything, that there's any disadvantage to signing on to this. There's no buy-in, there's no nothing. We just get designated as a zone. We're more palatable for people coming in, businesses coming in, and then also on top of that, for other grant opportunities that we may apply for as a town and other area grants or other grant opportunities for other organizations that are also applying. So there's not necessarily a downside to signing on to this, or at least asking the governor to nominate us as one of the towns.
So I think that, I mean, the discussion tonight is if there's no downside and there's no commitment, then let's just do it. And we're technically without open session.
No,
so-
I know, but everybody else has spoken.
Yeah.
I'm happy to wait. I'll wait.
Okay. So do we want to just vote to move ahead with the process and also find out when we have to have it in by? Because we're no doubt going to have to pull together a whole bunch of information.
So I
Motions
would,
about-
yeah, I would just move that we authorize Alcina to pursue this designation.
Second?
Any further discussion? Okay. Roll, vote call. Cindy?
Yes,
Yes.
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 And yes. Okay. You have your marching orders. But as soon as you get any information that I'm still very curious to know if
Yeah,
it's,
and if I find
yeah,
any more supporting documentation as far as any risks going with this, I'll pass it on so that.
okay. All right, fiscal agent discussion. We have been asked, we're being asked by local organizations to have us act as a fiduciary or fiscal agent. Typically, we haven't done that. And it would definitely need to be on a case-by-case basis, but what do you have to add to that?
So, yeah, we've been approached, 2 different ways. One, to basically, if awarded a grant from a nonprofit, would we be willing to basically manage the grant and also, because as most grants are nowadays, unfortunately, they're reimbursement grants. So money has to get fronted out and then we get reimbursed. So that is something that we will be seeing is we would have to front that money for a grant. Then as the project progresses, whatever that might be, we would then have to manage that grant, ask for reimbursement, making sure that whether it's construction or whatever the grant is, everything was done to a T so that we can basically get the proper amount back or the full reimbursement. So there is a little bit of potentially could be liability on that standpoint. As far as if the grant isn't followed through in the proper manner, we would be on the hook for, so there would be would need to be some kind of contractual agreement if we are to proceed with this. The other aspect of this also too is the fact of the increase in, I guess, I'm not gonna say burdensome on the staffing here, but it's gonna be extra work for folks here between payroll, finance, myself, to manage the grants that we already have, and then on top of that, we have the other outside agencies. Another aspect of it is also looking at it, where do we cap it? How much do we offer every year? There's a lot of questions of, what type of organizations apply? And yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of uncertainty. I know in other towns and cities, what they have done is there is usually a promotion and development 501c branch for the town that typically does this and ends up being the fiscal sponsor and does the grant management for these types of projects. So it's not the town that's directly doing that. So that's another route. We don't have that though. But yeah,
Are there
those are the,
Go ahead.
no, I'm sorry.
Are there
No.
small, so I think you have more to say, but I was thinking that, does this need to go either to the finance committee or the admin committee to help, tease out some of these criteria by which we would accept that responsibility? Because I can think, there are times when it would be a good thing for the citizens of Dover-Foxcroft if we were doing that, but there are many questions. Do we have the staff capacity for that, et cetera? And how would we do for one and not another? So we'd have to establish really clear criteria by which we made those decisions. So
Okay.
I guess my main question is, should we talk about this more in one of our committees?
Well, it's before us now, so we'll punt it around just to get a feeling of the room.
Well, actually, the specific was the ATV club had approached me as the protection chair. And I made the recommendation, there's a lot more questions here, and referred it to Alcina, and then thought, well, maybe promotion and development. But within protection, these were the notes that we talked about. Again, although the group supports wholeheartedly the effort to bring better trails for our community, it just seems that the risk is high. The liability, the administrative workload, reporting, and the perception that, oh, the town is now a bank. So to encourage nonprofits to become their own 501c3, that enables them to then go approach the banks. And in this case, they're talking $250,000. And we just whacked off 100,000. So to have that type of expense on the town, again, I think it's taken a risk. The reporting, again, some fiscal agents become the reporters of this. And I don't believe that our staff need to be out looking at the trails to make sure the contractor did whatever. So again, I think there are other options for any nonprofit. And again, once you do it for one, you do it for them all. So I think Tracy, you were
Sorry,
there.
Tracy, yep.
I was in that same meeting and I concur for the most part. I think it's a wonderful idea and it's a wonderful concept. But I don't think there's anybody in this town office has that kind of time to put into something like this. I think we're loaded up enough as it is in the town office, and again, that type of expense of putting it out there, you're putting the money out there before the grant shows up. And you're taking the risk that they're gonna do everything they said they were gonna do. So that you can get reimbursed for what you've invested.
Yeah.
And I just don't think the town should get involved in that.
Yeah.
That aspect of it. That's my opinion.
Yep.
I welcome yours.
Yeah, and I guess my opinion on it is, you know, I love to see projects like that. But really, it's just, I mean, if we have to allocate that type of money every single year when the budget comes up, I mean, we're really talking about the taxpayers' money funding this stuff. And, you know, I'm not sure that we're in a great position to really be doing something like that right now.
We would typically, the fiduciary agent gets a small percentage of whatever it is. But given that we do not have the staff capacity, then it's not really a reimbursement. We'd have to go out and probably subcontract out that work, and then that gets into a whole nother thing. From my perspective and having set up a nonprofit, I know it is tricky, and having a fiduciary agent can really jumpstart things, but whereas these grants are, as Alcina said, they're mostly going for reimbursement after money has been spent. I have seen how that goes. Government shutdown delayed our payment for, this was the first one, way back. And so it screwed up all the paperwork, and we waited 6 months, I think, to get that all straightened out. And it was through no fault of anybody locally, but fortunately, in that case, we had the matching funds, so we didn't inconvenience some other organization. But I think that just share my own opinion is similar to the others here, is that there's a lot of potential liability from this, and it is putting money out of pocket. And I am also very concerned about what you did for that one. Why don't we go and do it for this one?
And I also think it's important that if asked, that the town write a letter of support
Oh, yes.
for their efforts, because we certainly do.
And we can do things like in-kind services towards their match. In-kind services for many federal grants are allowed. So if it's, you know, moving boulders or something like that, we feel that we can take that on a project by project things, then we can still partner with them to help them get it. But we're not gonna be on the hook for the whole thing. Okay.
I just wanted to add on one thing, since, which goes along with not necessarily the fiscal agent part, but Sebec Lake Association approached me about, so they're going to have volunteer boat inspections down at the lake. They will be hiring a few folks to stand out there on like the heavier weekends, and they were asking how the board felt if they were to grant us funds and we were to then pay their employees per se through our payroll system, as contract workers. Now, that also comes with another
Again,
thing. We have to, yes, they gave us the money up front, but once again, we're paying for our payroll system. We have to, and not that I'm saying we shouldn't do this or one way or another, but there also comes with a set of things. It's additional work for our current staff on that. And then, what was the other part? Oh, the contract work. We have to then send out, you know, the W-9s, not 4s, because contractors get a different one than us. So that would all come at a cost for the town, at the end of the year for tax purposes. And so just wanted to throw that out there. That was another, group that had approached about that as well. And it's along the similar kind of
Mhm.
lines of
Yeah.
if we open it up for one, how, if
Yeah.
that's the same.
Yeah, we're not designed, or we have no infrastructure designed for this, so,
No,
Yeah.
I agree.
all right.
I like the way you say, we have no infrastructure designed for this as opposed to, we don't want to burden our workers with any more jobs to do. It sounds better. We don't want to be, but we don't want to be short-sighted
Yeah.
in, well, we don't want to add this to our daily workload.
Right.
There are far more other important
Yeah.
parts to it.
Yeah, sometimes municipalities or organizations have spare capacity and they take it on because it's a way to fill the hours of their own staff, but I don't think we have that problem. Okay, any further thoughts on this? Seems like, I don't think we need to have a vote. Okay,
Just a couple of thoughts. The organization I used to work for had been the fiscal agent for one or two other nonprofits for a very brief period of time. And so I'm wondering if the ATB club could go to another club that's already got its 501c3 status, or another like-minded organization that might help them in the interim period.
yeah. And that's just the thing, we can make suggestions, but it's really not can be as helpful as we can, but that's about it.
Are there other fiscal sponsor, responsible people in town
Yes.
that actually have money to front that? No.
So,
Be clear.
yeah, all right, so I think we've, we're in agreement on that we are not in the business of being fiscal agent.
Thank you.
Not that we disagree with the underlying concept of it, it's just implementation of it is
Not yet.
not something we really want to consider. Okay. Moving on to the new D, which is discussion of the village project. This is the carryover from the budget advisory, so looking for a motion on, this is to say, we approve or, well, actually, it's not even on this is to say that we don't want it on the warrant.
Correct.
Yeah. So I'm looking for a motion to not put it on the warrant.
So moved, will not put on the warrant.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
I just have a question. Is it, and this may be too late to have asked Jared, but to say, would it give us any advantage to at least have a $25,000 line? Is that sending a signal that we're still interested? And does that put us anywhere higher or lower? That was my question.
We do have the 200,000, so I would hope that would.
Well, yeah, but I mean, to do it from 200,000 to Zippo kind of sends a message. And at the same time, 10,000, I don't know, 5,000, some other token gift of saying, we're not forgetting about it. Just a thought.
Which has been my point, that we want to be very clear that we know that the project is still coming.
Right.
We're very positive that we want to support it, but this year, we're looking like in a way to save some money because we have some in the bank already that's well and truly capable of covering our commitment, that this year we're going to put zero into it.
Jared answered a really important question, I think. And he said that he thought that the 200,000 would be enough to cover their initial phase of engineering costs coming back from us. If he said, oh, that's just a drop in the bucket, I think we would be needing to make a different decision. But with him saying that whatever is going to come up, not even this year, but in 2027, that we already have enough money to cover that. So it sounds to me that if we put the 100,000 in this year, it would be sitting around for probably 2 years before we needed it.
Well, and again, talk about finance committee there, sitting, it shouldn't be sitting. We should be investing.
Oh, yeah, in investing, but it's out of people's pockets and
But right, instead of the 1%, we should be investing it so that when the bill comes in for the paving, you know, what we thought was 1,000 is now 600,000. It just, I feel we just need to do a better job in investing our monies. But, and again, I had attended, the Wednesday's meeting and going in thinking, you know, Saco, Berwick, Sanford, they're all on the list before us. You know, why bother? But based on the conversation, and Leslie was there, Emery, just to hear that, again, what's happening, there's so many pieces coming together. And if we can get something resolved under someone else's, you know, energy and staffing and materials, why not do that?
Oh, yeah.
So again, I think it was insightful as well as exciting to hear the work of all of the pieces that are coming together from Rouse all the way up to Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
This place is gonna look different, hopefully.
Yeah.
But it is gonna take time and it's gonna take money.
And I thought Jared did a pretty good job summarizing what the kind of the boxes we've ticked already for the state being interested.
Yeah.
If we weren't doing the bridge, if there was no major infrastructure project going on from the state in the middle of town, I think Saco would probably beat us out. But because they're already plunking a whole bunch of money into this area, sounds like it puts us in a different league.
Yeah, can I just add one
Yep.
other thing just to go off of that? And the fact that we do have so many upcoming state infrastructure projects that are happening in the next, what, 5 to 6 years, and we're gonna be in a, sorry, I'm saying this, we will be in a perpetual state of construction.
Yeah.
For near future, but that also, they're putting interest in our town. So that gives hope that these projects and us to latch on and like that, the whole bridge aspect of it, if the VPI part gets rolled into that bridge, that's a huge chunk that we will not have to match because that is DOT taking care of all of it.
Yep.
Which is really nice. And then also us being part of it. I had sent Jared a whole list of things that were, other things were happening in town, you know, as far as the work planning committee. That was very exciting for them to hear, as well as, you know, the dam construction aspects of it. So there's a lot of parts that are happening at once, basically, that also helps raise us
Yeah.
on the bar.
And Jared certainly, every time he calls or comes up here, it's well attended and so he's gonna, no doubt, passing that information on. Okay, we have a first. Yep, go on.
Can I just be very clear that it's on next year's budget advisory for the same amount of discussion we're having right now that we started the two, and hopefully we don't, but we stay on track to let them know that we're saving money for the job when it gets here. So.
And it's procedural question, can we ask that it just be identified as 0 for this year? That's a procedural question. So that again, the perception is
On the
warrant article. That's the Jonathan question, in my opinion.
If we have to
Yeah,
because of the
Put a little
commitment. to
caveat
fire-
saying it. that-
Correct.
Yeah.
Because again, I think we want to send that signal that, look, folks, we are trying to decrease. Last year it was sidewalks. This year, you know, we're looking at this project. We've discussed it. We had a meeting, but it's not that it's gone.
Right.
Right.
All right, yeah, if you could check in with Jonathan about whether or not, because of the, having it on the warrant last year in discussion, whether we should still include it on the warrant. And the advisory committee said that they were recommending nothing. So if it does go on, that's okay. Your recommendation, and we're about to vote on ours, could go on there, or he might say, no, don't put it on there. Okay, so we have a first and a second. All in favor of the motion? Thank you. Cindy,
Yes,
I think you're right. Okay, yes?
Reluctantly, but a firm yes.
I concur.
Yes. Kevin, and a yes. All right.
No.
Wasn't exciting.
All right.
Went right up.
So E, I was trying to look up the fellow's name before, but just updated my phone last night. Things are messed up. So, E, accounting discussion, and I am going to, so this is there was no action being taken tonight, but it was brought to our attention, the board's attention, that the changeover in between the previous town manager and current town manager, the methodology was peculiar to the individual before and of accounting for where the appropriations are sitting at any given period of time. And the staff approached us that they would like some help from an actual accountant instead of, because nobody in the town office is a trained accountant. To sift through the papers that we have and all the information we have, so that we're very sure that we're not accidentally doing something or not doing something with an allocated amount of money that is contrary to what was voted in. And so Tracy reached out to a guy who does this particular thing for a living with municipalities, and I spoke with him today. He says this is extremely common in municipalities where it's very difficult to do over a period of time. These things happen where somebody's done it a certain way, and then who's not a trained accountant, somebody else comes in who's not a trained accountant, and they're trying to match things and line things up. There is no thought that there's anything missing. It's just, we need to be sure that if the voters approved, say, $200,000 to the village, that is properly being paid attention to. And that if we find that there's any money where we can't figure out what it was attributed to, then we will have information about that too. Because that is actually possible, that let's say the townspeople put aside 60,000 for something and we only wound up spending 58, and nobody moved that 2 back into the general fund from an accounting standpoint. It could just be sitting out there in one of our accounts. We have the money, it's not spent, it's just we haven't freed it up to come back to us. So like I said, this guy says that this is extremely common. And he is not only willing to come in and figure out what's what, but he's also willing to, this is all fee for service. He's also willing to write up standard operating procedures from an accountant standpoint, which would be useful for our staff to follow. And that would have give us a written set of policy and rules that could be through personnel changes, that would continue instead of being whatever the individual who happens to be in the seat at the time up with. He could also do trainings about this specific issue or broader. He's a CPA and he does books for towns, so he can do pretty much anything that we would want. So that's all the information I have for you. Questions? Tracy?
Can I also add that he had a list of towns for references for you to look at?
Yes.
And I only saw a partial list, but I thought it was quite a list.
Yep. It was quite a list.
Places to look, for you to look and
Yep.
say, what do you guys, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to do.
Jane?
Question, should this not go up to bid, and or do we have an RFP?
I would think that the amount would require that, yes.
So what are we talking price? Did he?
No idea. This would be, there's a standard engagement letter. The usual thing is that they would come in and kick the tires and figure out what the scope of work is, because it could be all the way from, you know, a couple of days to months, and he doesn't have the information to know that yet.
But I mean, aren't we signing the check? Shouldn't it be up to us to say, this is what we want as part of the RFP?
Well, what we would
And,
do,
I have no idea who this gentleman is.
yeah, no, what we would do is we would say, we're putting out an RFP for this scope of work. He would come in and he would say, I'll do it for X. And then we would put it out to others to come in. And then we would just do the usual thing. We would choose between whoever submits for the RFP. But I thought you were asking, like, did he give me any idea of how much this would cost?
No, I'm going, irregardless of the email that you sent out. My question is, if this is a need for the town, we should put together an RFP, have a pretty good sense. Are we talking 15,000? We talking 30,000? And then that go out. Because again, you know, we've done studies before. I've chimed in on this before. We've done studies before. Well, that's not what we wanted. So I think we need to be clear about what is it as part of this diving into our books are we looking for?
Yes, yeah, and that would have to be spelled out in the RFP, for
Okay.
absolutely, for sure.
Okay,
And that would be a discussion for us. Do we want to include in the RFP, the drafting of standard operating procedures and how much that would cost? And we could break it up into pieces. And then the last one is to whether or not we want to include any specific trainings in that. So there's three things. One, getting a handle on sorting through all the various spreadsheets and trio entries to and bank accounts and reconciling where everything is. And then those other two things I mentioned. He seems like a good idea to me. We certainly had been approached by the staff that they would like some assistance on this. So what are the things, should we do a direct, Emily would probably be the best one to start writing that up. To start formulating the basics of the RFP.
Yeah, basically, because all the accounts and whatnot as far as what we have. Yeah, basically, get a scope
Okay,
done.
my suggestion, and it's noisily fine, is for you two to work on a scope and the outlines of an RFP and bring it back to us. I think we should go to admin committee first. Normally,
think-
that's what we would,
Yeah, I think so. So
Yeah,
we
okay.
need to have a meeting in the near future anyway, so I think it's really important to emphasize those different components that we've talked about, because there's the review of accounts, right? And then the other components that you described. And also just for the public, I think it's important to say that, you know, we don't think there's been anything done that isn't above board. It's just trying to get a sense of all the various accounts and making sure that things are where we think they are, sorted in the way they should be. Not that there's anything missing. I want us to be really clear about that so people aren't worried about why are they hiring this outside accountant? It's to really
Very well.
help us get structured appropriately.
yeah, and as I said, it could be that we find that we have money that just wasn't put back into the general fund. I mean, it's not through any nefarious thing, it's just, there's a lot of years and a lot of transactions, and it could be that all he finds is there's one $200 reimbursement thing that wasn't added in. We don't know, and that's, yeah. I've just been cleaning my basement for the first time in 15 years. I can tell you, I knew what everything was when I put it in that basement, but I am surprised at some of the things I found in that basement. Okay, so we've got, and that will go to admin committee. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Now we're on to town manager's report.
Mhm.
Alrighty, so to echo Steve's Maple Sunday breakfast, that was a huge success. So Dover-Foxcroft, Kiwanis, and FA hosted it this year. Proceeds will be going towards purchasing and installing new playground equipment over at Kiwanis Park. And over the past year, we've made significant improvements, such as dredging the pond, and basically the general site enhancements such as fixing walking trail bridges that were very scary to walk over there in past, and as well as kind of shoring up some of the eroding walking trails in that park. So update on work committee. So as a reference, work is the, mess it up, recreation economy for rural communities. I did it. We've met twice. We will be having the planning team. They will be visiting Dover-Foxcroft, so they will be here in person Wednesday, June 10th through the 11th. During their visit, they will be touring the community. So pull out all the stops. We want to show everything that we have to offer, and then they can get a really good idea as to what, what our town culture, heritage, all of that, and that just adds to the plan that they will eventually formulate with the town. And then also they're going to be hosting interactive workshops where obviously the public is, I hope they will come out in droves and attend and participate in. And it'll be a great opportunity for the residents, businesses, and the community groups to join in the conversation. Save the date information will be on the website shortly. Just finishing up some graphics on that. And so you'll see that in the next coming days on the website and then also on social media. So there's been a few, moving on to the next topic, there's been a few things posted online today about the dump. Specifically, one being that the dump is no longer open as of March 1st on Mondays, which is not true. And then there was another rumor that spread about the town changing dump hours, and that is also not true. There's no change to any hours and or any additional days of closure. Today we were closed for main DEP training. That was something that February, there was an issue with, we were in attendance for that training. They had computer issues. We were only able to do a half a day's worth of training. And so they had to reschedule. We have no bearing on or no input as to when they pick the day for training. So we're at the state of Maine's whim for when they pick them. Unfortunately, they do Mondays. So that's why today they were closed, and the dump will be open tomorrow from 9 a.m. to noon. To stay in the loop, and if you're not on Facebook or visiting the website, you can also download the Everbridge app or sign up through Everbridge or resident alert system. You can receive alerts such as that via the app, phone, text, landline, voicemail. They'll actually save it to your answering machine if you still have an answering machine, or email. So if you want to keep up on emergency notifications and then also community updates, definitely sign up for that. There's a service that we pay, so we want to utilize it to the fullest. A little update on Essex Street Bridge. As probably folks noticed today, there was flaggers and things going on right at the post office of Summer Street North. They're installing some flashing stop signs, because that is going to be a three-way stop. I've heard already a lot of folks saying, oh my gosh, this is going to be such a nightmare. Yes, it will be a nightmare. I'm not going to lie. But I hope that with growing pains, we will be able to march forward, because we definitely need that bridge fixed. There's no doubt about that. So the bridge is still scheduled to close March 25th, which is Wednesday morning. So ride over it tomorrow. That's gonna be the last time you're gonna see that bridge. And,
I've been riding over all week.
yeah, see, use it as much as you can right now. And then they also kind of updated, with the anticipated project completion date to December of 2027, which is a little better than the original. They have until November something of 2028 to finish it, but they did move that completion date up to 27, which is great. And then an update about Lincoln Street Bridge project, because I feel like I'm just talking about bridges all the time. In the coming weeks, Wright Pierce, who was the project designer for Lincoln Street Bridge, I plan on having them either virtually or if they're able to come up, kind of give a refresher basically of why this bridge replacement is needed. We have $1.3 million of congressionally directed spending attached to this, and we do not want to lose that money because that's huge. So, and we have until September of 2027 to expend those funds and have construction done. So we will need to get that bridge definitely hopefully funded and built by then and repaired. And the project is expected to go up to bid shortly, probably just shortly after they come and do their presentation. I'm still trying to shore up as far as the dates for them to come and do a little refresher course on the bridge, its condition, and then what the plans are for that. And that is what I have.
Excellent, thank you. All right, so we have open session, closing remarks from the public.
Yeah, well, I've accumulated a lot of comments, I'm sorry. First of all, on the discussion on the shoreland ordinance, or the shore, it was not shoreland discussion, but it was discussion of the property that doesn't have septic. As someone who owns property there, 2 properties on the lake, I think it's really, really important that water quality not be deteriorated. It will affect the fish, it'll affect algae, it'll affect everything. We really that has to be enforced. So I feel really strongly that you should, I was a little disappointed by the lack of oomph, but I didn't understand all the background. So I'm hoping that there's more energy behind this because this is really important. And I don't know what to do. The discussion on the Opportunity 2.0 town. I'm just giving you feedback. I'm a little concerned about the lack of energy around this possibility. It seems to me our town needs a lot of work. We all are aware of that. And when you have an opportunity like this that comes up, I think we should all be really kind of eager, and maybe that should be going to the Promotion and Development Committee. And, people should be, there should be some energy around making sure that this grant gets in. It's a lot of work. I know you do a lot of grant writing, and I appreciate that because you're a good grant writer. But anyway, I'd like to see that happening. And then the third item is the fiscal agent discussion. And, the fiscal agent is not the same as the fiscal sponsor. And what you were describing in terms of the responsibility of taking responsibility up front for the funding is a fiscal sponsor. The fiscal agent is really somebody who takes care of the books and in return for a payment. So the organization that's 501c, the organization that isn't a 501c3 comes to a 501c3 that has that designation to manage the money that comes in and gets expended. It's really just a bookkeeping function. It is not there is no liability associated with that. Central Hall does this for many organizations. I don't know that they would be willing to do it for every organization in town. I mean, we do it for organizations that are aligned, like Helping Hands with Heart and other organizations. But I think it's worth approaching them because that is a source of income for them. Central Hall makes money by being a fiscal agent.
Right.
So I just wanted, I heard tossed around that nobody does this and it isn't available and all that stuff. I just want to be clear. I'm not sure they would want to take on this, but just so you know.
Thank you.
It wasn't the scary bit of that, though, sorry, Steve. That they need to lend the money out before it comes in.
That's not accurate. That's what I was trying to address. That's a fiscal sponsor,
Yeah.
but the fiscal agent doesn't have that responsibility, as I understand it. They're different.
Yeah, they are, the common component is that there's, for us, for the town, is staff time.
That's a different thing.
Yeah.
I
And
completely.
the other aspect of it that doesn't apply to Central Hall is the whole like, well, you did it for this one, why aren't you gonna do it for that one? It's
No,
just,
I'm
yeah.
not taking issue with that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying,
Yep.
the way it was discussed, it sounded like it made it sound like you had a responsibility to put out money and you might not get it back. And that's an inaccurate statement, and I didn't want that to be left.
okay. Alcina, do we know whether they were asking us for, or you did? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what
It-
they're asking.
It's not what you're asking. They said, we don't have 250,000 in our bank, but the town, can you?
So
So
that's a
it's-
different thing. That's
yeah.
fiscal sponsor.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a different language, and fiscal sponsor,
Yeah.
nobody's gonna do that.
yeah. Yeah.
I can tell you that.
And I'll apologize, because I know I did say fiscal agent, fiscal sponsor, and I was back and forth, and it is accurate that there are two different things.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Again, just a mechanical question. How do we fund this accountant? I don't remember seeing that line item in.
No, there
anything
is-
Talked about in the budget.
That is correct. There is no line item for it in the budget. We do have the ability, and we don't like to do this, but we do have an overlay, which allows us, what are we at, 200 and something for this year? It can come out of that. But you know, if it's $5,000 or $10,000, probably not a big deal. If it's,
Oh, I
30
think
or
it's a
40.
great idea.
yeah,
I have no
Yeah.
question about the idea.
and because
I'm
we
just-
don't know how much it
again, I
is, yeah.
Want to understand the mechanics.
Yep, it's too late to put it in for it as a proper budget item in the
Okay.
budget. But we do have the ability to move forward with this if we believe that's what we
Oh,
need to do.
it could fund itself with
Who knows?
spare monies.
Yeah.
Fine. So,
Yeah.
no, you got a house clean once in a while.
If we had a couch,
But,
we would start at the couch
Yeah.
and pull all the cushions out
yeah,
and see if
I
something,
just wanted to make sure that how you were gonna pay for that.
okay. Anything else? All right, looking for that motion. We always like to hear.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, second by Kevin. Cindy?
No, we should vote.
I'm totally in favor.
Yeah. Okay, yes.
Yes. Yes.
We'll take an absolutely. Yes.
Yes.